Her red dress wasn't for me. The trouble started with glitter. I work nights at the Blue Finch, a jazz room on the river that pretends it's older than it is. We keep the lights low, the band tight, the cocktails expensive enough to slow down regret. I run sound and patch cables, ride the faders when the trumpet gets ambitious, and sweep the stage after closing because the owner, Manny, doesn't believe in job descriptions. When I get home, the apartment smells like sleep and my wife's shampoo. That night, I climbed into bed, and a constellation of red sparkles caught the bedside lamp and threw it back at me like a dare. Lena doesn't wear glitter. She's an architect and has the wardrobe to prove it, slate, cream, black clothes that mean business and fit like answers. I picked a fleck off the sheet and rubbed it between my finger and thumb. It clung. I turned to look at her. She was on her side, face to the wall, hair still pinned up from wherever she'd been. Book club ran late, she'd texted when I was soldering a cable at 10. Her breathing was steady, innocent music. On the dresser, her phone glowed with a muted notification, then settled back into the dark. The next night, the Blue Finch hosted a private set for a liquor company trying to convince the city to drink their new rye. We were full of suits and rehearsed laughter. The headliner was Dahlia Knox, the kind of singer who makes you feel like you've been somewhere with her even if you've never left your chair. She's all smoke and starlight, a satin slip of a dress and a voice you don't get over. We've worked together enough that she knows how I like her mic set, and I know the exact second she'll lean back from it and turn a single syllable into a question everyone wants to answer. Halfway into the second set, I stepped out from behind the board to check the monitor mix on stage. That's when I saw the red. It moved through the room the way a lighter's flame moves through a crowd at a ballad, small, bright, disobedient. A dress the color of a stop sign you run anyway. The woman wearing it had her hand on a man's forearm, laughing up at him like she'd just remembered how. I knew the shape of her shoulder blades under bare skin, the way her hair curls after she takes it down. Lena. She didn't see me. The guy with her was one of those navy blue suit types with a haircut you could set a watch by. His hand hovered, then landed at the small of her back for half a second, as if he was checking a rumor. The piano climbed into the chorus and drowned out the rest of my thoughts. I slid back to the soundboard and stared at the LED meters like they could tell me a story I liked better. My phone buzzed. A text from Lena, heading home in a bit. Love you. I typed House Book Club and watched the three dots disappear. We got into it about endings, she wrote. You'd have hated it, a smiley face. I looked up. The red dress was at the corner of the bar now. The man leaned in to say something that required her ear. She let him. I watched his hand stay where it had no memory of ever being. Manny leaned over my shoulder. You okay, Evan? You've got that look like someone sat on your guitar. Fine, I said, and pushed up the bass a little to make it true for someone in the room. Dahlia stepped off the stage after the tune, took the water I handed her and followed my line of sight without asking. She has the kind of eyes that can stand up to bad news. She said, and it was neither gossip nor comfort. Who is she? My wife, I said carefully, like setting down a glass you know is already cracked. Dahlia's gaze flicked back to me. And the guy? Not me. She didn't soften. Dahlia's kindness, when it shows up, arrives in a tailored suit. Do you want to know, she asked, or do you want to think you know? I want the music not to cut out, I said, which was another way of saying I didn't trust my mouth. Then keep your hands on the board, she said, and breathe. She squeezed my elbow once, quick and professional, and went to nail the next song like it owed her money. I watched Lena and the suit leave before the last number. the red dress disappearing into the hallway that leads to the restrooms, and then, if you keep going because you know how, to the hotel next door through a poorly labeled service door. I told myself they were just cutting through, because weather, because the valet lane, because anything at all. I told myself a lot of things and none of them stuck. After close, Dahlia sat on the edge of the stage, kicking one heel against the riser. The room was all chairs and shadows. "Come upstairs," she said. "There's a rehearsal room with a window that makes the river behave." "I should go home," I said. The word home tasted like something that had been left out too long. "Suit yourself," she said, and hopped down unbothered. At the door to the stairs, she paused. "If it were me," she added without looking back, "I'd want someone to walk with just for the thinking part." I followed. The rehearsal room is really just a storage space with good acoustics. A keyboard, a broken lamp, a mirror that remembers other faces. The window looks west, past the bridges, where the river loosens. Dahlia plugged in the keyboard and played something that sounded like rain deciding to commit. "Tell me," she said, and no more than that. So I did, mostly talking to the dark glass. I told her about glitter in the bed and the red dress I'd never seen in Lena's closet and the practiced way the man's hand moved. I didn't say the name that had been in some of Lena's stories lately. Rafe, the lead developer on a project her firm was bidding for, a donor to the city's arts council, the kind of man who takes a call and pretends he didn't. Dahlia listened the way good singers do, holding the note until you put the harmony under it yourself. When I ran out of sentences, she asked, "What's the best case version you can live with?" "She was here for work," I said too fast. "He's a client. They came for the music and a drink and then left separately, and I missed the part where they didn't touch." "Okay," she said, "worst case." "She's falling," I said, and my throat closed around the rest. Dahlia took my hand the way a doctor does, businesslike and sure. "People trip," she said. "Sometimes they want to, sometimes they don't. The thing is not to pretend you didn't see it. You can catch or you can step back. Both are a choice." There was nothing to do at 3 a.m. except go home and pretend to sleep. Lena was awake when I walked in, lights low, the red dress gone. She wore one of my shirts and had that loose, post-party energy like her body was still humming from music. "Hey," she said, and kissed me like a question she wasn't sure she wanted me to answer. "How was the set?" I wanted to say I saw you. I wanted to ask why the truth has a different voice when it texts. Instead, I said, "You have glitter in your hair," and lightly brushed her temple. My hand shook. She smiled, reaching up to push the stray spark back like it was shyness. "We went to a birthday after book club," she said. "Someone thought confetti was a good idea." "Whose birthday?" I asked. "Ridge," she said, "from the office." There's no Ridge in her office. Rafe perhaps ran out of vowels. I slept beside her like a guard dog that knows the gate is open. 2 days later, I found the other clue without looking. The Blue Finch shares a loading dock with the hotel. I was wrestling a stubborn drum case off a van when a small rectangle skated across the concrete and landed at my shoe. A claim check from the hotel's cloakroom. On the back, in Lena's precise block letters, a phone number I didn't recognize and 2 words: room service. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I won't lie. I pocketed the ticket and walked into the hotel like a man who knew where he was going. At the desk, I smiled the smile that says you already have my money. "Cloakroom," I said and handed over the slip. The attendant returned with a garment bag. "Lucky person," she said. "It's been here a day." "I hope so," I said. Back in the alley, I unzipped it, breath stuck in a place I didn't know you could hold it. The red dress shone even in that mean light. It was heavy in the way expensive fabric is heavy, weight that feels like a decision. I hung it back on its wire skeleton, pressed my mouth to my knuckles, and stood there long enough for Manny to stick his head out of the kitchen door and say, "We serving dinner out here now." That night I told Lena we had an early sound check, even though we didn't, and asked her to stop by the club after work. "I want you to hear what Dahlia's trying for the new record," I said. The lie hurt less than the truth would have. She came at 7, hair down, face unarmored, wearing the black dress I bought her last winter when we were still showing off for each other. Dahlia greeted her like a queen and then went a mic herself without comment. The room was empty except for us and the band. I queued up a song Dahlia had written the week before, nothing we'd played yet, a slow-burn thing that tasted like honey left on the stove, lyrics about a door key that opens the wrong room if you're not careful. No names, no blame, just the architecture of temptation and the blueprint for better. Lena listened with her hand on the back of a chair, eyes shining in a way I couldn't read. "Beautiful," she whispered when it ended. "To me, not to Dahlia. You helped with that." "A little," I said. What I'd really done was ask to be wrecked by it privately first. Dahlia slid into another number without waiting, one with a little swing in it, something to loosen the truth. While she sang, I said casually, "Lose anything lately?" Lena's head turned. "Like what?" I set the claim ticket on the table between us. Her face didn't change much, but the light around it did. She looked at the slip, then at me. The song carried us both for another long bar. "I was going to tell you," she said. "People always say that when the world has already done the telling." "Tell me now," I said, keeping my voice low because Dahlia was pouring her heart into a minor seventh, and it deserved the quiet. Lena's hands were steady on the back of the chair. "There's a donor," she said. "For the museum wing we're proposing. He's enthusiastic. He takes calls at stupid hours and thinks meetings happen where the lighting is flattering. He likes to feel like a character in a story he wrote." She looked down, then up. I got caught up in it. The energy. The red dress was a dare. I took it. "Rafe," I said. Her laugh was small and shocked. "You saw." "I saw enough to invent the rest," I said. "He kissed me in a hallway," she said, not performing a confession so much as setting a bone. I let him. It was the kind of kiss you could chalk up to lighting and momentum. But I thought about you while it was happening, which is worse, probably. I thought about how you would read the scene and tell me what was true about it. "What was true?" I asked. My mouth was dry. "That I liked being noticed by a room," she said, "and that it wasn't a room I wanted to live in." We stood there with the band behind us making something gorgeous out of restraint. Lena reached across the space between our chairs and barely touched my wrist. The touch was careful, not begging. "If you want me to leave," she said, "say it clean. Don't make it the song's job." I looked at her and saw our mornings, our stupid arguments about whose turn it was to take out the trash. The way she steals my socks and folds them back into the drawer like she's doing me a favor. The nights we forgot the city existed and turned the couch into a continent. I saw the glitter, the lie, the service door that might as well have been an exit. "I don't want you to leave," I said. "I want you to come home." "I am home," she said, and there it was, the story I could live with if I was brave enough to trust it. Stayed after the band packed up. Dahlia strummed a lazy chord and left us with the room. "Lock up," she said, and kissed my cheek like a blessing, then whispered something to Lena that made her smile and shake her head. When we were alone, we danced to nothing, slow and ridiculous. The kind of dancing that's really just an excuse to be that close without talking. My hands knew where to go. Hers did, too. Our foreheads touched. The air had that charged, velvet feeling like a stage right before the lights come up. When I kissed her, it wasn't to reclaim territory. It was to draw a border we both wanted to protect. Heat rose between us like good trouble. Her fingers slid into my hair. My mouth found the slope of her neck where trust and pulse are neighbors. We stayed safely on the right side of what I'll say out loud, but the room knew the rest. At some point, she laughed into my mouth, the sound that used to undo me in the first month and still could, and said, "This is better than book club." "Everything is better than book club," I said, and she nodded as if she discovered a new law of physics. We walked home through a city that had decided not to rain. On the bridge, she stopped, took my face in both hands, and said, "I returned the dress." It was an offering, not an alibi. "I know," I said. "I picked it up." She winced. "Of course you did." Then, after a breath, "Do you need me to quit the project?" "Do you want to?" "No," she said. "I want to finish it and remember who I am while I do." "Then finish it," I said. "Just no more rooms that invent excuses." "Deal," she said, and kissed me like a signature. Weeks have passed. We've learned how to talk about the part of us that needs to be seen by strangers and how to keep it from renting rooms without our permission. Dahlia named the new song Claim Check. She thanks me from the stage sometimes in a way nobody in the room notices. Lena comes to the Finch once a week now, and she always wears something that doesn't shed glitter but does shed doubt. If Rafe is a chapter, he's one that ends where our street begins. He tried one more text. She didn't answer. I saw the bubble pop and leave no stain. We kept the claim ticket. It lives in the drawer with the wine opener and batteries and the things homes collect. Sometimes I see it and feel the old ache flicker, just long enough to honor it and then let it go. The bed sheets are clean of sparkle. The red returns only in small, chosen ways. Her nails, a scarf, a mouth after lipstick that leaves a mark on my collar I don't bother to hide. We threw a party last Friday, the kind with just 6 friends and a bowl of olives pretending to be hors d'oeuvres. Dahlia came late, slipped in like it was her idea to finish the night at our place. Before she left, she tugged my sleeve and said, "You look lighter." "Maybe I stopped rehearsing the bad ending," I said. She tilted her head, pleased. "Sing the one you want," she said. "Let the bridge do its job." Later, when the door clicked shut behind the last guest and the apartment exhaled, Lena and I leaned against the kitchen counter with our ankles tangled and our future somewhere easy between us. We didn't need music. We just needed the kind of quiet that keeps its promises.